All righty, I think we are on. Hi, everybody. How are you this morning? Here in Kansas City in Pleasant Hill, which is where I am right now. It's a little cloudy, overcast. Boy, did it pour down rain yesterday. I thought it was going to get hail where we were, but it did in other parts of the city. So how is everybody doing? If you're out there, check in, tell me who you are and where you are. I always love that part. And I am going to make sure that I can watch the side over here to see who is making comments. So we will check that out as we go. So I'm going to send some little hearts your way so we know that we are connected. There we go. All right. So it has been an interesting couple of weeks, and we've been giving you a little play-by-play, not totally, because it would wear you out. But we are here in the Kansas City area. We drove in on Sunday night, got here, and it feels weird. That was our last trip cross country for that. So we are no longer in Las Vegas, and I don't know, it feels kind of strange because we've been from Las Vegas for the last 15 years or so, something like that. So anyway, but we are glad to be here. We had a great day yesterday. Got to see all three of my little grandchildren. Henry and Alicia, I saw in the morning or the noontime, I guess, and we went to lunch to a great Mexican place. And no, I don't remember the name of it. It was in Lee Summit. And then last night or later in the day, we went over to Justin's and met them at the swimming pool in their neighborhood and got to watch the kids swim and jump around. It was so fun. So this is what we've been missing for these last couple of years. And now we are here to be part of all of the fun and all of, just watching the kids as they grow up. So those of you who are grandparents who have and grandmas out there who've been doing that all along, you know what I'm talking about. So we had a good trip cross country, a little bit of a crazy thing we left on Saturday morning, met with the new owner of the house, and she is just a delight. And it is so funny because she's mid-30s and this is her first house that she's ever owned. And she said, "This is my starter house." I said, "No, honey, this is not a normal starter house, to jump into as big of a house as that was by herself with her two little dogs." But I'm so happy for her. She sent me a message yesterday. She said, "I started moving things in my house, in your house," she said, "and I just love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I'll take good care of it." That's sweet. That's just one of those rare things that we got to have a relationship with the person who bought the house. That's not normal. For those of y'all out there saying, "Oh, you get to meet the owner, the buyer." Usually not, usually it's kept separate, but it was just an interesting way that it happened. And I'm kind of talking about that today because I guess I'm realizing right now, we all have different seasons, things that we go through as we watch, if we go back to our lives. And I've always talked about the fact that we have a thread. If you go back and look at your life just as a kind of a little wake-up call maybe, but as a way to go back and just see God's faithfulness. Where has he brought you from? Way over here. And normally you think of those big things like when you're 16 or 21 or whatever, but along the way there's also those aha moments that happen that you just come out of nowhere and it's God talking to you. But if you start making a note of those, I really encourage you to do that. Whether you think you will ever write a book or not doesn't really matter. It's not about that as much as you realizing how God's been working in your life throughout your whole life. You might even start as a little girl, just things that happen, and maybe you've always been aware of how God is working in your life, or maybe you're just beginning to see that wherever you are along that journey. It helps to go back and just make a note, write it down. I always suggest, y'all know this, so been with me for a while, to always have a notebook, something to write in, because sometimes those thoughts, God just pops the thought in your mind, say, "Oh, I need to write that down," and just write it down. Yes, you can do it on your phone. Of course you can. Nobody's, telling you what you can and cannot do. But it's a real, and I should ask Lynn to remind me of how that goes, but basically your brain has these neurons that go back and forth firing each other. And when you're writing something physically with your hand on a piece of paper, you're going left to right. So if you're right-handed, you're going left to right, and it's doing something and charging up your brain. And it'll also, as you're writing, whatever it is you're writing on, it'll fire it up to remember other things. So it's a very powerful tool to use. So actually writing it down, then you can always go back and retype it, or maybe I think there is an app that if you write things down, it can automatically go into a digital file. I don't have that and I've never used it, but I think that would be kind of cool. And maybe you have to actually write it on a notebook or something. But however that works, that physical, actually writing it down is just so good for you, and it will remind you of things. So just start, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't even tell yourself you're writing a book. You might later, these notes that you might be the beginning of a book or a meditation or whatever. I don't know what God has in mind for you. But when you have those notes, what it does is it triggers it for you and helps you remember how God's been working in your life, or maybe see it for the first time. I remember as I started doing this, probably maybe in my late 30s or maybe my early 40s, that as I began remembering things and writing things down, I realized that has had me as a leader of women since the very beginning of time, since the beginning of my time. And I never really realized that. I was just doing it and going along my life. And, even in high school, I was in some clubs or groups with women, and I just tended to always be a leader. And I didn't really realize that about myself. And in Booster Club, when I was in college, I was the captain of the Booster Club and several things like that. And I was like, oh boy, Lord, you're pretty amazing. I've been leading women and encouraging women all my life, not realizing that was God in me, and putting me in those situations to be that person. So it's not a surprise. And it came as less of a surprise as I was doing that, to realize, well, of course, that's what he's been doing my whole life. Why would he change now? And that is the other side of this coin, is when you realize how God has been using you and encouraging you and taking care of you and all of those things, it also makes you realize, well, gosh, maybe you're in a tough place right now. I don't know where you are. But when you look at that and you say, well, he brought me through this thing. And when I was in my 20s, this thing, and oh my gosh, he did this. And you're looking at all of these ways that maybe he's protected you. Maybe he brought you out of a bad environment. Maybe he gave you a out of the blue promotion or an opportunity that you never expected, and are so grateful for. Me, just how he works is so phenomenal. We have had so many of those amazing little things, Bill and I, in our marriage, as well as in my own personal life as well. And so when you see that, and then you're in a hard place, you can say, boy, Lord, you brought me through this and you did this for me. Why would you stop now? Right? He's not going to stop now. He's going to bring you through. He's going to present an opportunity. He's going to carry you, whatever that is that you need for this particular point in time in your life. So just be encouraged by that and know that God is faithful through it all. But sometimes we're just missing it because we're not paying attention. My favorite thing I love to talk about, is how God always gives me a front row parking space. I'm sorry, but that he just does. My sister shakes her head. She says, I just don't get it. And I don't even get it, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to get it. I just know that he does for some reason. And maybe the reason is so I can share it with all of you, is that pay attention. So that's my theme of the morning, to pay attention. Pay attention to how God is working in your life. And maybe for you, it's not a front row parking place. For me, it is. I don't know why, again, but I'm grateful. And I always thank him for it when it happens. I've told a couple of those stories, but even recently that happened, and the front row parking space was right in the front of a restaurant. Bill dropped my mother and I. We were in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, and we were going in this little restaurant, her favorite little pizza place called Vito's in Mesa, Arizona. And he dropped us off so we wouldn't have to walk very far, which is very sweet. He is such a gentleman, always taking care of us. And I said, well, you'll probably see one right over there. And sure enough, I mean, it the exact spot actually where my mother and I had parked the year before when I had been in town was open. So you just never know. So look, if you're looking, oh, how about this verse? Seek and ye shall find, like that, right out of scripture. If you're looking for the miracles, if you're looking for the opportunities, if you're looking for God at work, you will find it. You will see where he's working in your life. And then you can thank him. You can be grateful and you can say, oh, Lord, you're just so amazing. Thank you for doing that for me. But if you're not looking, y'all, you're going to miss it, because just sometimes we're just kind of clueless. Wouldn't you agree? Sometimes we're just clueless and we're not paying attention when we don't see all the miracles that he's doing in our life. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. Like I said, for me, it's parking spots. What are the little things that God does for you, maybe every day or every week, that maybe you're just overlooking and not paying attention, that is something special for you. Because I believe he does it for all of us, but sometimes we just don't notice. And I'll tell you right now where we are. So I'm going to tell y'all a couple of stories that go into where we are in our life right now. So y'all know we sold our house in Las Vegas. It was certainly a God thing. We tried the last 2 summers, it didn't sell. And totally, really, you guys, I was relieved. I didn't want to leave Las Vegas. I love my kids. That's not the point. But I liked living there. I liked the life that we had there. And I liked the fact that things are open 24/7 and all of that. And I really like the weather. Now, some of y'all who don't like heat might not, but I do. The humidity really is hard on me. God's going to have to do some, I don't know, something major changes to help me get through the humidity better. But physically, I feel better in Las Vegas. So I was dragging my feet. So this last time, so whenever it was in May, and Bill said, Delinda, it really is time. We really need to move. And I said, well, I thought we were going to wait a little bit longer. And he says, no, I feel like it's really time. And so when Bill really feels something like that, I want to honor that and say, okay, well, then maybe he's feeling it and I'm not, because I'm resistant. Don't ever be that way. You ever just been resistant to something? So, excuse me. I remember standing out by the pool and I said, okay, Lord, it is up to you. We're putting the house on the market. If you want it to sell, then you bring a buyer. You know that I don't feel it. I just don't. So you just take care of it. And, whatever happens, we'll go with it. I'll be happy and we'll move. And I said, I love the kids and I want to be there with them. So, okay, lo and behold, what happened? 5 days after it was listed, 13 showings, we got a full price offer, and that was it. It was so God that you couldn't even imagine it being anything else. So God is at work. And I know that right now he's definitely at work in me and in our family. And I don't think I've shared this with, I better wait. Alicia has something to share, and I'm not sure that she wants me sharing it just yet. But the thing is, I know that things are changing, not just in our country and in society in general. I think there are some big changes coming, and that's not something I'm here to talk about, but I feel it. And I feel, as I've told y'all for the last couple of years, I feel God is calling women. He's calling women to stand up and be faithful and not be afraid to stand up and walk in faith and not in fear. And don't let fear hold you back from the things that God is calling you for. So take a look around you and see where God is working. I know I mentioned this somewhere over the last 6 years. I did a Bible study that was called Experiencing God. It's great study. If you've never done it, I encourage you to do it. You can do it by yourself. You can do it on your own. There's a workbook, or you can do it in a group. Then it's very powerful to do it in a group because you get to hear the other stories of how God is at work. And one of the main points in that book is that we often, as humans, and any of you who might have control issues like me, we tend to think that we're, let's just say, okay, Lord, I'm doing this. Come join me, make this successful, come and join me, Lord, where I'm working, right? As opposed to, Lord, show me where you're at work and how I can join into that. Totally different mindset. It just really is. So it's how Are you looking at your life? Lord, here I'm doing this, Lord, come bless it. Or Lord, I see what you're doing over here. Is this where you want me to be a part of that? And he will let you know. Look at the new people in your life. Maybe the Lord's brought you some new people in your life to either encourage you to encourage them or them to encourage you. Look at what's happening around you in your circle of influence, wherever you are active. How is God working around you? And then where is it that he's bringing you to plug in? Because it's really a different mindset when we look at things that way. And I know many of y'all already are. I'm just sharing some things that are really coming to mind with me right now, because I feel like all the things that I've been doing over the last couple of years even are going to change. I'm not planning on changing the show. I've had several people, well, are you going to keep the show? Yeah, little till God tells me not to. And I think that we may start an additional one. I might start an additional show where I actually do more interview style, people in their businesses and how God is at work. I'm not sure on that. So I'm just waiting to see where God is at work. And right now, that door is not open. I don't see that happening, but my goal is to stay so totally plugged in with where God is and what he's doing in me, in our family, and in the people and life around me, that it just is such a natural transition for me to step into whatever that next thing is. Like I said, I don't know what it is. And where are you? Are you feeling some of that too? Maybe you're in that season of change or evaluating where you are and what changes can you make? Or are you right in the palm of God's hand doing what you're called to do? And that's beautiful. If you are, then praise God, say, Lord, thank you, and enjoy that season, because the scripture talks about be content in every circumstance. So I think it is really our mindset, and that's really what it all is, right? Is how we're thinking about things. What is your mindset as far as being open to change, but also what is your mindset as being open to be where you are, where God has you planted for now? That doesn't mean it's going to be for always, but where's he planted you for now, and what difference can you make or continue to make in what you're doing? Because I know many of you are just doing such amazing, marvelous work in the business world as well as in your church work that you're doing. We have so many of our Fun Fearless female gals who are just doing some amazing things. And I'm so proud to just be a part of the group and watching all of you grow and do the things that you're doing. So as you're looking at your life, go back again, take some moments, make an appointment with yourself and take a little time, an hour or two or a weekend. It's really powerful when you can take a whole day of being just in the God zone, where you're not, step away, go spend the night in a hotel, and just give yourself that time to unravel and look through this beautiful tapestry of your life and all the ways that God has brought you. Back to where I started today, but to see where he's brought you and where you are now. Where is he working? Have you been noticing some special things, and how can you plug into that if you're feeling that inside? If you just know that sometimes you just know that do you understand what I mean? Sometimes you just know. I just know God has called me to work with women, to share his message with everybody, but to share his message and his love with women in particular. That's just where he's planted me to do that. How he plants me or where he puts me, that changes. But through the years, that working with women and encouraging, that's my spiritual gift, is encouragement. So I can't not encourage you. I mean, that's the way he made me. I can't not do it. And there are several others of you out there like that as well. So I would say, I do want to put out something for you guys in the Fun Fearless female realm. Some of you are active apart and you go in and you check the messages and you sometimes, post some things. If you want to be a contributor, if you want to be part of the building up of women, if you want to be part of the group in a more active way, then would you reach out to me and let me know? Maybe you'd like to do encouraging posts. Maybe you'd like to do a learning video like Kathy Weaver does every week. She has just been so faithful and puts out such amazing things. Kathy, I haven't responded in the last few weeks because they're in the middle of moving. You know that. But what she does, y'all, is so great. And that she just does it because she loves all of you and she loves reaching out and helping others. Sonia Williams posts some of the greatest little quotes and faithfulness. And so I admire the things that she does. So if you want to be a contributor and do a little bit more of that encouraging of women, reach out to me and let me know. Also, if you want to also be a, sorry, I've got my phone dinging on me over here. I don't know if you hear that or not. If you want to have a lunch start in your area, so go back to Vegas, some of the ladies are thinking about starting back up, even though I'm gone. Y'all can still have great lunches without me. Maybe I'll zoom in with you, but reach out to each other and decide, what do you want it to do? And I will be connected with you. We will start up probably here in September doing something with the local Kansas City area. I look forward to that. I've always wanted a group, and I've always felt it, a group in Nashville. And I thought we were going to be able to do that. That didn't happen because the gal there moved. So God had other plans for her. So if you're thinking that you would like to help share and spread this message of love and hope and encouragement to other women, reach out to me and let me know, because I would love to do that. All right, well, I think that's about all I have for this morning. Just be paying attention, realize where God's working. And if you don't really see it, just kind of start watching, just watching around you and just see. And you'll be amazed how it works. I mean, when you're watching, you're going to find, it's like when you look for good, you'll find it. If you're always looking for the bad in people, then you're going to find that too. So I'd say switch your mind, make that mental shift and only look for good. Because if you look for good, you'll find it. If you look for God's opportunities, you will find those as well. So he is planted in your heart already. He's already planted in your heart what he wants for you. Those goals and dreams that you feel, that burning desire that you have inside your heart. He's the one who plants that there, and he will also make it come to pass. But you have to pay attention. So that's the message of the day. All right, now I am going to quickly look over here and see if we've had any messages from people, because I don't see any right here. So let me see if I can find. Okay, is anybody on here this morning? I don't see anything, so that's what's making me think that I'm not somehow not connected correctly to where I can actually see those. So I'll go back, you guys. So hello to all of you that are here, but I can't see you. But if you're there, I will reach back out and answer and say good morning and all those good things for you. All right, my friends. You know what? Life is not a matter of chance. Are y'all tired of hearing me say that? Would you like me to come up with a new quote or a new ending phrase? The thing is, I can't change that. What I believe is really that we have so many choices, choosing to watch where God is at work, choosing to make those decisions that are going to keep you in alignment with what his will for you is, staying in close relationship with him. That's his will, y'all. His will is to stay in close relationship with him. Because when you do, all the other things come to pass. You'll know where he wants you and what kind of activities he wants you doing and which ones he may not want you doing. So he's always making shifts in our life to keep us in his palm and what he wants for us. All right, I'm going to say it. Life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. So choose wisely, choose to be aware and pay attention of how God is working, be grateful for it, and reach out to somebody else. All right, you guys, love you and see you next time. See you next week. Same time, same place. Bye now.